You're watching WYLN TV 35. Now, from the area's leader in live local news, this is WYLN News, the area's #1 source of live local news and information in Luzerne, Schuylkill, Carbon, and Columbia counties. WYLN News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on WYLN News. I'm Julia Wiegand. Hazleton City Council voted yesterday to extend the emergency declaration issued by Mayor Jeff Gassat. A daily curfew will remain in place through May 11th. The existing curfew, which runs from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., continues through April 30th at midnight. The modified curfew begins Friday, May 1st, with hours from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. daily. It prohibits residents from being in public places and on city-owned streets. The emergency declaration also bans groups of 4 or more unrelated people from gathering in public, requires individuals to stay at least 6 feet apart, and restricts the number of non-related people traveling in vehicles. The latest report from the Pennsylvania Department of Health shows over 40 more confirmed cases in Luzerne County as of yesterday. The department said there are 2,078 confirmed cases in the county, with 74 deaths, ranking it third in the state's positive case rate. Statewide, there's 44,366. Now that's up 1,102 cases from the previous day. Nursing homes and assisted care facilities were hit the hardest during this pandemic. A high-speed police chase in Schuylkill County Tuesday afternoon led to a suspected robber being taken into custody. Police say the unidentified man is allegedly responsible for 4 armed robberies in Schuylkill County and possibly more in Berks County. He was taken into custody along Panther Valley Road near Cressona after a police pursuit ended with him smashing into a state police cruiser. The crime spree began last Saturday in Cressona and continued through Sunday in Pine Grove Township, West Brunswick Township, and Schuylkill Haven. Troopers are also investigating as to whether he's responsible for 2 other armed robberies that occurred last week in Schuylkill County. A woman from Maryland was arrested in Hazleton for disorderly conduct. Police were called to the Hazleton Housing Authority on West Mine Street in the early morning hours of April 19th. They found Amrilis Sanchez Familia, who appeared to be intoxicated. She claimed she was visiting her mother, but was locked outside of the apartment. She was let back in, only to have the police called back an hour later because she threatened to damage the living space. Officers took her into custody as she tried to resist them and was charged with resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, and public drunkenness. She was released on $2,500 unsecured bail. The Weatherly Police Department's asking for the public's help locating a wanted man. Joshua Gundry, who also goes by the alias Joshua Love, is wanted out of several jurisdictions. Weatherly police encountered him this morning in the area of Urena Avenue and North Street, where he fled on foot. Police are asking the public to not approach Gundry, but instead to contact 911 on his whereabouts. Governor Tom Wolf sent a letter to members of Congress urging legislative action to ensure access to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Pennsylvania is permitted to provide flexibilities for the Commonwealth's administration of SNAP and provide emergency allotments to some current SNAP households. The Department of Human Services continues to process applications for SNAP and encourages those needing assistance to apply online at compass.state.pa.us. Pennsylvanians that need help accessing community food resources to feed themselves and their families can also contact their local food bank or pantry through Feeding Pennsylvania and Hunger Free Pennsylvania. Weis Markets announced Tuesday it'll use non-contact infrared thermometers to take employees' temperatures before starting work. The policy is now in effect in all Weis Market stores, along with its distribution center, manufacturing and processing facilities, and store support center. The measure was put in place as part of the company's continued efforts to improve its existing COVID-19 protection measures to increase cleanliness and minimize personal contact. The pandemic has forced many businesses to close their doors. However, Mexican food lovers will be happy to hear that this is a story about new doors opening in Wilkes-Barre Township. As of today, the Four Keys Plaza in Wilkes-Barre Township has another friendly neighbor ready to serve some fresh, authentic Mexican-style cuisine out of his famous J. Zapata food truck.
It's an opportunity for people to know who we are, what do we stand for, and say flavor and consistency and all the stuff. But it's for them to have a choice. Have them and let them know that we're here and give them a choice of not only fast, but also fresh. Remember, we cook fresh.
Same truck, different location. Owner Ricardo Santos was happy with how smooth the big move was, as were his traveling customers. Accessibility was a huge influence in his decision to bring business to the Wilkes-Barre area.
At the moment, we work at a deal with the owner, which is going to operate 5 days a week. That will be from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11 to 7. If it's required, it depends on the curfew around here.
His Sugarloaf Township location that he referred to as his baby, his Hazel Township location, and brand new Wilkes-Barre Township location are the only 3 in operation at the moment, while his Laurel Mall, Butler Township, and Bloomsburg locations are on standby during the pandemic.
I just recommend everybody to be very careful outside, wear a mask, wear gloves, wash your hands, don't touch your mouth or nose. Don't let this virus get us down. We have to fight it, and I can't fight it by myself. We have to fight it together. That's what all American about, unity.
Chefs have always washed their hands and worn gloves to cook in Ricardo's food trucks, but started wearing face masks too and serving from behind the glass to minimize customer contact.
I won't be seeing my customers smile like I used to, but I just know I make them smile. I give them a good time. Like they leave like laughing. I won't see their smile, but I know it's a tough times for everybody, including for ourselves, but we are hustlers. And stop by but the Four Keys Plaza and try our food. That's right, J. Zapata.
You can also check out Ricardo and his element right here on Wyln TV during Cooking with J. Zapata. Coming up on Wyln News, help for seniors. Plus, we say goodbye to one Berwick Elementary School for good. But first, we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast brought to you by the Wyln Weather Kids. We'll be right back.
It's me again, LJ. I'm 9 years old, and tomorrow will be rainy. Get your umbrellas out because it's about to not wet.
Hi, I had a very minor fender bender tonight in an unreasonably narrow fast food drive-thru lane. Don't worry, I have everything handled. I already spoke to our Allstate agent, and I know that we have accident forgiveness, which is so smart on your guys' part. Like the fact that they'll
4 weeks without the car.
Okay, yep, good night.
With accident forgiveness, your rates won't go up just because of an accident. Switching to Allstate is worth it.
Visit your local Allstate agent, the McNeilis Agency in Hazleton at 1092 North Church Street, or in Hometown in the Hometown Village Square.
Join us this week on Let's Talk Chiropractic. Dr. John and I are going to discuss the updates at the office with the coronavirus and how we're keeping things going, and also motivate, hopefully, some people out there to remain thankful and grateful during this time.
Wyln presents Community Update on the Coronavirus, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. with rebroadcast at 7 p.m. and 10 a.m. the following morning. Brought to you by the Lehigh Valley Health Network, PBS 39, Adams Outdoor, and WYLN TV 35. We're your local network.
Luzerne County voters will vote by paper ballot for the June 2nd primary because of coronavirus concerns. County Manager David Pedri announced the change Tuesday. Voters will be provided with a pen to fill out their ballots and will keep the pen after voting. Those with special needs or are unable to fill out written ballots will be permitted to vote by touchscreen, which will be cleaned after each use. The county will use large locations to house multiple voting districts, reducing the number of polling sites from 144 to 58. Those polling locations will be part of the county report that'll be submitted to the Board of Elections next week. Pennsylvania received over $30 million from the federal government to support senior citizens. The money helps meet the increasing needs of older adults and people with disabilities during the pandemic. Services authorized by the Older Americans Act include home-delivered meals, respite care, and in-home care services, as well as support for families and caregivers. Many concerns surround a possible nationwide meat and poultry shortage. President Donald Trump signed an executive order to keep meat and poultry processing facilities open during the COVID-19 national emergency. The CDC, along with other agencies, put out guidelines to protect employees working in processing plants so they can continue to operate. Secretary of Agriculture Sonny Perdue thanked the president for his action and says the nation's meat and poultry processing facilities play an integral role in keeping our food supply chain going. Unfortunately, you can thank the pandemic for the expected increase in meat products, since many facilities had to temporarily shut down. And speaking of shut down, Holy Family School won't be reopening its doors with the rest of the Berwick Area School District, blindsiding both the school board and parents. The Diocese of Harrisburg announced the closures of both Holy Family School and Lebanon Catholic. The news shook the community, since it was just last year the district fought for a 5-year agreement with church officials to keep the district's lone Catholic school's doors open. In a press release Monday, the diocese stated the move was made at the request of priests for both St. Mary's and St. Joseph's churches, which help financially support the school. The two parishes split a $146,000 a year contribution to the school, and collections were on the decline, even before the pandemic hit. Before its closure, Holy Family School had 62 students and 16 staff members total. Coming up on Wapwallopin's News Choice, we bring back our diabetes talk this Wellness Wednesday in Community and You, plus 3 cheers to 103 years. Stay with us.
You've seen university advertising. A student like me pitching you the same old ideas. But I'm not gonna do that.
Instead, I'm gonna tell you what you can do with the Penn State degree. You can help anyone. Go anywhere. Create! And with 20 campuses to choose from, you'll always feel at home.
Look, Penn State is amazing, but your best years are just beginning. Come find out for yourself.
There are 125 used car dealers in town, but there's only one Churras. Quality vehicle since 1954. Voted the best used car dealer. Check out their inventory, see something you like, take a test ride. Churras Auto Sales. Call 570-454-7229.
Have your event with Whitetail, graduation, birthday, bachelor, reunion parties? They have the most tranquil backyard experience with beautiful mountains in the background. If your company or business wants a different alternative to a golf outing, they have outings that can accommodate you. You can have the entire facility to yourself. They will work with you to set up your day of events. Sporting clay competitions, trap and wobble trap games, skeet. After a day of shooting, you'll return to a meal designed for you. Call Mike at 570-535-6123 for available group options. Looking for information on the coronavirus pandemic? Make sure it's from a reliable source. Go to WYLNTV.com and click on the Lehigh Valley Health Network banner for the real facts about the coronavirus pandemic. And watch WYLN News live at 5:30 for updates on this ongoing crisis. The source matters now more than ever. WYLN, we're your local network.
Welcome to Community and You here on WYLN, and it is Wednesday, which means it's Wellness Wednesday, thanks to our friends over at Lehigh Valley Health Network. And today we are on location at the Wellness Center on the Airport Beltway with Dr. Sheikh, who's an endocrinologist. And going to be talking with us a little bit today about diabetes, type 1, type 2, causes, symptoms, risk factors, but we'll just start off with a description of what type 2 diabetes is all about.
Hi, Julia. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak to you guys. So type 2 diabetes, most of the time we come across mostly type 2 diabetes patients, and it's the most common diabetes we see across. Type 2 diabetes, mainly the risk factors is obesity, if you have overweight, and that's why we say this disease is mainly caused because of insulin resistance. It has some insulin deficiency, but mainly it is insulin resistance contributing to the disease. The risk factors, as I mentioned, poor eating habits, overweight and obesity are the main risk factors. There is a genetic predisposition too. Like for example, if you have first-degree relatives, mom, dad, brothers, sisters, who have diabetes, you have 50% chance of getting diabetes. If both the parents have diabetes, then there is 80% chance of getting diabetes. Then the symptoms-wise, most of the time, if it is uncontrolled diabetes, you have symptoms of feeling thirsty all the time, you pee a lot, and if the blood sugars run high, and you normally have symptoms of blurry vision sometimes. And you might actually lose weight because you're not able to utilize the glucose, so you might lose weight too. So those are the main symptoms. And the treatment strategies now with the type 2 diabetes, we have a wide range of treatment strategies. We have a lot of oral pills to be used, and sometimes if you can't control on the pills, then we have to go on insulin too. So that's mainly for the type 2.
Now with type 2, is there a general age range of who is susceptible to developing type 2 diabetes?
So type 2 is generally seen in adult population. Before, we never used to see in the younger, like in the children and in the teenage groups. But now, because of the prevalence of obesity all over, you see that in 18-year-old, 16-year-old as well. But mostly speaking, this is an adult disease.
Now, how can somebody who may already have type 2 diabetes or may think they're at risk of getting type 2 diabetes, what are some of the ways that they can almost avoid it entirely?
So the most important preventive aspect for the type 2 diabetes is diet and healthy lifestyle. So if you're trying to eat healthy and try to do some exercise regularly, that will help to prevent diabetes. But again, there is a genetic component as well. So if there is a family predisposition of having diabetes, you are at higher risk. And also the race also is an important role to play. African Americans and Hispanics have higher incidence of diabetes compared with Caucasians, whites.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know when it comes to preventatives, type 1 is not like type 2 in that type of way where, type 2 maybe you may give yourself type 2 diabetes, for lack of better words, versus type 1 where it's almost like you're just kind of bestowed upon it.
Right. So you rightly said type 1 is, before it used to be said as juvenile diabetes, and it's mostly common in children because they're basically insulin deficient, so they don't have any insulin to utilize the glucose. That's why these patients are mostly children, in the age group of children groups. But nowadays, we have a lot of population, at least in my practice, we have patients who are adults also who have type 1 diabetes. In those patients, you can have diabetes initially labeled as type 2, and over the period of time, they become type 1. But specifically speaking about type 1 in the younger age group, that's true. You mentioned there is nothing really like a poor healthy lifestyle contributing to it. It's mostly autoimmune based, which means that the antibodies are basically working against yourself. They're basically harming the cells which are making insulin, so you don't have an insulin. So there is a definitely, again, genetic predisposition. You will get the history from the patient. Most likely the families or relatives have type 1 or other autoimmune conditions like lupus or adrenal insufficiency, some other conditions. Yeah.
And when it also comes to type 1 diabetes, there are signs and symptoms like type 2, but at the same time, there are also more higher risk of almost developing a coma if going untreated, correct?
Right. So most of the times patients are diagnosed with type 1 when they actually are admitted in the hospital with a condition called diabetic ketoacidosis, where their blood sugars are very high and they're pretty sick. And the treatment for them is basically insulin because they're insulin deficient. The treatment is insulin. But nowadays, you don't need to inject multiple times. In the sense, we now have a new technology where we have insulin pumps, where it is basically the insulin is delivered by a subcutaneous catheter. And again, type 1 diabetes patients are also prone to have low blood sugars and high blood sugars very quickly. Their glycemic control is can be very volatile. Nowadays, the technology-wise, we have continuous glucose monitors where you can actually track your blood sugar every few seconds, and it's easy for the patients to predict when they are going low and high. So I think compared with a few years back and now, the technology has advanced very much where you can use insulin pumps and continuous glucose sensors.
And when it comes to treatment here at the Wellness Center, they can almost schedule an appointment with you. So how does that work?
So the one thing I want to mention, we have a what we say Helbig Diabetes Education Center, where we have very well-trained certified diabetes educators who see both type 2 and type 1 patients. And type 1 patients, they do pump training as well. And they also do insulin teaching. They educate about the diet and healthy lifestyle. So feel free to make an appointment with myself or with the Diabetes Education Center, the Helbig here.
Awesome. Well, thank you for squeezing us in so much today for this Wellness Wednesday.
Thanks. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Thanks.
No problem. And thank you everybody for watching on this Wellness Wednesday in Community and You. Remember, if you believe you may be suffering from diabetes or are worried you may be at high risk, don't be afraid to schedule an appointment here at the Wellness Center with Dr. Sheikh or anyone else who is more than qualified to help you out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on WYLN.
SJ Kowalski is your Mitsubishi Diamond Contractor. They can install a Mitsubishi electric Mr. Slim ductless heating and cooling system. Mr. Slim systems are designed to make any living space in your home inviting. You can have a different temperature control for every room in your home. The money-saving technology can save you 25 to 50% on your heating bill. For Mitsubishi, Rinnai, and trained comfort specialists, call SJ Kowalski at 570-455-2600.
Life is different, but it hasn't stopped. So when curiosity turns into a rash, an LVHN video visit is just a click away. No matter what you need, whether it's a phone call with a primary care provider or a specialist, or you just need advice on your health, we have a virtual care option that's right for you. And the best part? You'll always be seen by a Lehigh Valley Health Network provider. Visit lvhn.org/virtual to learn more.
From the bottom of our hearts, the WYLN TV 35 family would like to say thank you to all essential workers for your service to our community and for keeping us safe.
Did you know that WYLN News provides news updates every weekday afternoon
At 1, 3, and 5 here on TV and on social media?
Did you also know you can watch WYLN News on the go by visiting our website or YouTube page?
Now more than ever,
WYLN is your local news leader.
Even uncertain times like these bring reasons to rejoice. One Heritage Hills senior community resident celebrated the big 103 last week. Nellie Greenwood Johnson celebrated her 103rd birthday on Friday, April 24th. Though this year called for some social distancing, her family joined staff and residents to make the milestone a grand occasion. Nellie was born in Halifax, England back in 1917. She graduated high school and worked in a factory before marrying her sweetheart, Horace Johnson, in 1946. 9 years later, the two set sail for America on the famous Queen Mary and shared 50 years together before his passing. Nellie has two children, 6 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. She was also a member of the Light Opera, sang in her church's choir for 20 years, and enjoyed reading and dancing. Happy belated birthday, Nellie. Rite Aid expanded the criteria for its 25 self-swab COVID-19 testing sites across 8 states, which includes its 20 South River Street location in Plains Township. Testing criteria now includes anyone 18 and up showing signs of fever, cough, shortness of breath, chills, repeated shaking with chills, muscle pain, headache, sore throat, and or new loss of taste or smell. All their sites are open from 9 to 5 daily, with the capability of conducting about 400 tests through online appointments. Patients need to provide government-issued ID, be at least 18 years old, have an email address, and need to pre-register online at riteaid.com to schedule. And Klein Township's Department of Public Works is reminding residents that it's that time of year again, when ashes are picked up every other week. The summer schedule starts May 1st. Ashes are to be placed out Friday nights by 7 p.m. They can be picked up anytime between Fridays at 7 through Saturdays at noon during the summer months. Any questions? Call the Township Garage at 570-929-3655. That's the news. Remember, the source matters now more than ever. You can get news updates on our WYLN News Facebook page or WYLNTV.com by clicking the LVHN banner for the real facts about COVID-19. You can also see who's open for business by clicking the tab on our website. Stay with us. Look at today's weather is next here on WYLN TV.
All Care Home Care, providing quality in home care since 1986. Call and see how their team of licensed physical therapists, skilled nurses, speech, and occupational therapists can provide you with exceptional service in the comfort of your own home.